Hey divas, welcome back to Women Unleashed. We're now month 34. And in this month, we open a new chapter of our life. Remember, beginning of the year, we said we see this year as a book. You're writing a new chapter of our life, a book about our life. And every week, every month is a chapter. Every week is a page that we are flipping. And this month, the book we're writing, the chapter we're writing is Embodiment, becoming that full woman. Fully the woman we've dreamt of, the woman we've been working towards for the past 8 months, becoming up, fully embracing her. And last week when we wrote, we talked about embracing her, becoming her, realizing who she is. And this week, we will be talking about carrying ourselves like the woman we have become. Carrying ourselves like the woman or the man, the person that we have become. Because we are no longer aligning, we have become, we have arrived. And there's a way that you act when you are in that space. Just like when you've been asked to apply for a promotion, you want to be the branch manager of an organization. Now you become the branch manager. There's a way you carry yourself. You don't carry yourself, you don't act again like the person that is still applying for, intern, applying for a junior position. You're not in a promoted state. So you need to carry yourself like that. You need to think like that. You need to act like that. You need to actually act like the manager. You need to be 2 times, 3 times ahead of every other person. You're not acting in arrogance. You're not acting in pride, but you are acting in your reality and you are aligning with the person that you have become. That manager. Yeah. So in this week, some of the things we'll be touching on will be how to develop our confidence without arrogance, like we've said, learning how ill women communicate differently, understanding the power of standards and boundaries. Yeah. Because even like that manager that you have become, some people expect you that you still be the person that they can work over. And no, we have grown, we have elevated, and the elevated changes your perspective. It changes the person you are, and that's where grace and liberty comes in. Grace says, I listen. Grace says, I love you. Grace says, I honor those people. But Gratitude also tells you, I love myself, I honor myself, I recognize who I am becoming. And I don't take, I don't stay in that place where I'll be disrespected anymore. And I'm now confident I can walk in boldness, I know where I want, I know where I'm going. So I said, people often expect access to the old version of you. Like I said, the woman would never said no. Sweethearts, that's in the past now. Now you're more confident. Now you know your reality. Now you know where you're going. Now you don't have time for people to waste. You don't have the time to be wasted, because every minute, every hour is important to you. It needs to be invested and it needs to be directed appropriately. But ill women communicate differently. Healing does not always make you louder. Sometimes it makes you clearer. You stop defending every boundaries. You stop you stop performing for approval. You stop explaining yourself over and over. In the past, when before you became that manager, you have to give an excuse. Oh, this. Now you become the manager. The shift, You've had a team meeting, you've told your team this is what we need to be working on, this is the target we need to make, and you've given them the point. You've all sat down, you've reasoned together why this needs to be, and this is the way forward. Normally in the past, before your manager, you see that you will have that time to be, chit-chatting with people. Now you don't have that time. You've got targets that you need to make. And people might say, oh, she's becoming manager because she's arrogant, because she's not a manager. No, you are aligned. You're focused. You don't have time for all those chit-chat anymore. You know where you're going. You're not there yet. Yes, you have moved a little bit higher, but you're not there yet. You just don't want to be a manager of the company. You want to be a shareholder in that organization, isn't it? Yeah. And this is where, like I said, this is where grace and liberty meet. Grace says, I honor others, but I also honor myself. I honor your time, but also honor my time. My time is not supposed to be wasted by people. I carry myself with grace, gracefully. I set myself in that position. The way I talk, I don't wait for man's revalidation anymore. Now I revalidate myself. I don't wait for your approval. I wait for my own approval. I'm better than what I was yesterday. I'm looking inward to see how I've performed yesterday, how I need to be performing today. I am the mistakes I've made yesterday, how I need to improve on them. Now I'm working faster, than I used to work before. So say attention notices you, respect values you. You don't, because when attention fades, when you're no longer doing the things that people expect you to do, people might forget who you are. But when you carry yourself in a place of respect, you know what you're saying, you know what you're doing, people value you. People value your opinion when you have something to put on the table. You have the facts, you have what it takes to move the organization forward. People value you. You become indisposable. That's it. That's where you are now. That is the place where you are right now. And that's how I need you to carry yourself. I said confidence changes opportunity. Confidence changes your relationship. Confidence changes how people experience your presence. Emotionally mature women understand this. Every feeling does not deserve a reaction. You have become, you have aligned, you have grown. You're now that manager of that department, of that organization. It's not everything you're going to be reacting to. People still want you to act in your own way where before you say, who, you have given them 100. No, you're not a woman of grace, a woman of, they're walking confident, a woman that knows where she's going, a woman that knows her calling, a woman that knows her boundaries. Now you're setting proper and healthy boundaries. And as a manager, there are some things that you're going to cut off for you to be able to excel in that space where you are. I'm using the place of a manager because you just don't start, you just don't graduate, start a job and become a manager. It's a process. It takes time and you need to move up the ladder. So, and that is what you have been doing. That is the kind of investment you have been investing in yourself. So that's why I'm using that analogy. Now you become a manager. So when you get to work, look at your managers and see that there are some things that in the past you sit down and be chit-chatting. Although some managers, some people don't still know where they are supposed to be. They don't know where they are going. And they can still be, behaving like, they are still floor members. But when you see managers that have a goal, that have a focus, I just don't want to be a manager. I want to be the general manager. I want to be the CEO. You see that their perspective to life is different. Yeah, they're not arrogant. They don't bring people down. But they are setting productive targets, they're encouraging the people around them, they're carrying people along, they are more confident, they are more steady, in the place that they are. And that's why I want you to see yourself. So when I need you to change your perspective, as you have become the woman that you have worked for, embrace that fully. Don't be scared. This is you can't shrink for anyone. In the past, you were not bold to face circumstances. Now you have learned to speak of. You have learned to align. You have learned to be confident. You have learned to break out of your comfort zone. Just like the butterfly, we say he had to break out, the caterpillar went through so many things, then broke out of the cocoons, and then, the wings have all come out. And now it's flying. The sky is a starting point. You don't need to just put pollinate just these flowers. They can go anywhere. The butterflies can go anywhere they want to go in the world. Pollinate a different type of flowers. It doesn't have to be just roses, or lilies. They can go anywhere, and that is the space that you're in now. Don't apologize for having grown. Don't apologize, for the woman that you have become, because the sky is your starting point. You are just arriving. You have not even reached where you're going yet. Yeah. So that's why we're talking also about the environment. There's some things that you're going to cut off. We talked about that a while ago, that when you set boundaries, there are some people that, that can come into the space. There's some that'll be, 1 meter, 2 meters, 5 meters. You have to set healthy boundaries for yourself. Just like the managers. It's not all the shop floor members going to sit down and be cracking. Maybe in the past you used to go for, dinner with all of you go for a drink and go out and just go and chat. But now there's some things that she's going to limit, because It's not just the respect that she deserves, but she needs to learn to she want to be valued, she want to be understood, so that you not say I was chatting with you yesterday and today you're feeling like no, 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 no. She needs to set her boundaries and set healthy boundaries rightly. So this week you're going to write down 3 behaviors, environment, or relationships that no longer align with the woman that you have become. Perhaps that organization, that your department is no longer aligning with your values, with what you have become. Perhaps the friendship needs a readjustment. Perhaps the behavior needs readjustment. Perhaps, there are things that you need to put in place. Yeah, we've talked about that over time when we were growing. Now we have grown and come into that space. We still need to be pruning ourselves on a gradual basis. When you plant a seed and the seed grows, every now and then you need to still prune the weeds. You need to still remove the weeds, prune and take off the branches. Cut off some things off the tree so that it becomes beautiful. You still need to keep wetting it. You still need the sunshine for it to grow. So it's a work in progress. You have moved to a level, but you are not there yet. So, sweetheart, this week, like I said, you're going to write down those behaviors, write those 3 behaviors, environment or relationship that no longer align with you. And then you are going to tell yourself that you will carry yourself with grace, wisdom, dignity, and confidence. As you walk this week, you will walk in boldness, you will walk in grace, you walk in dignity, you walk in confidence, because you have arrived into your space. You need to embrace that woman that you have walked for. This month, you're embracing her with everything within you. This month, you are repositioning yourself properly, because the work ahead is a lot, and you need to make sure that you're in that space to be able to receive powerfully. So as we go this week, do not shrink. Continue to rise above above your where you are. Continue to rise, continue to walk in grace, continue to walk in boldness, continue to walk in confidence. And remember that the sky is your starting point. You have entered into the space of your becoming, but yet there is still more ahead of you. And these are the attitude that will take us, to where we are going. See you at the top. See you next week. Bye.